The massive alien ship appeared on Earth's long-range sensors without warning. Admiral James Walker stood in the control room of the Global Defense Command, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of multiple screens. His 30 years of military experience had never prepared him for this moment. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," reported Lieutenant Adams, her fingers flying over the control panel. "They're not even trying to hide their presence." The message that came through was clear and carried a tone that made Walker's blood boil. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Council, and they weren't impressed. "Primitive species detected," the computerized translation announced. "Planet designation: Earth. Technology level: pre-space civilization. Threat assessment: negligible." Laughter. That's what they heard next. Actual alien laughter, translated into cold, digital sounds that echoed through the command center. The council members were amused by Earth's quaint attempts at space exploration, by their emotional approach to problem-solving, by their inefficient social structures. Walker watched the main screen as images of Earth's cities, military bases, and space stations flashed by. The aliens were scanning everything, not bothering to hide their activities. They saw humans as nothing more than amusing pets. "Look at their warfare," one alien voice commented. "They still use projectile weapons. How charming." "And their space vessels," another added, "powered by chemical reactions, like children playing with toys." More laughter followed. Walker's jaw tightened, but he remained silent. Around him, the command center staff worked furiously, gathering data on the alien vessel. Dr. Miller, their chief scientist, was already analyzing the alien transmission. "Admiral," she called out, her voice tight with concern. "Their ship, it's massive. Early estimates suggest it's roughly the size of Manhattan. And that's just one ship." The aliens continued their commentary, discussing Earth as if it were a newly discovered ant colony. They noted humanity's excessive emotional responses, their wasteful art and music, their illogical attachment to concepts like love and friendship. "Such a resource-rich planet," one council member observed, "wasted on a species that hasn't even unified their global government. Pathetic." Walker stepped forward, his hands clasped behind his back. "Can we broadcast back to them?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Adams responded. "They've left the channel open, almost like they're daring us to respond." "No," Walker said after a moment's thought. "Let them think we're too primitive to understand their transmission. Let them underestimate us." He turned to address the room. "Send word to all major military commands. Quietly. No public announcements yet. And get me a secure line to the United Nations Security Council." The alien ship hung in orbit like a gleaming sword of Damocles, its hull reflecting sunlight across the Earth below. In their arrogance, they had made no attempt to cloak their presence. Why should they? To them, Earth was nothing more than a future colony world, its inhabitants barely worth acknowledging. As Walker coordinated Earth's initial response, the aliens continued their survey. They catalogued Earth's resources, its strategic position in space, its potential value to the Galactic Council. They noted humanity's divisions, their conflicts, their apparent inability to work together. What they failed to notice was more important: the speed at which information spread across human intelligence networks, the rapid mobilization of Earth's military forces, the quiet determination in the eyes of every human who looked up at their ship. "Send copies of all their transmissions to every major research facility," Walker ordered. "Every word they speak tells us something about them. Their arrogance will be their weakness." The aliens above continued to laugh, continued to mock, continued to plan. They saw humans as primitive, emotional, divided, weak. They would learn, too late, that these weren't weaknesses at all. They were humanity's greatest strengths. As the first day of first contact drew to a close, Admiral Walker made a simple entry in his log. "They laugh now. Remember this day. Remember their laughter. it won't last long. 1 week after first contact, the Galactic Council delivered their message. The alien transmission interrupted every broadcast on Earth, their technology easily overriding human communication systems. Admiral Walker stood in the United Nations emergency session in New York, watching as the alien council member appeared on the massive screen. The creature's metallic skin gleamed under strange lights, its 4 eyes blinking in an unsettling pattern. "People of Earth," the alien spoke, its words automatically translated. "We have assessed your world and found it lacking. However, we are generous. We offer you a choice." The creature's mouth twisted into what might have been a smile. "Surrender your planet within 1 month. Those who submit will be permitted to serve as labor-class citizens. Those who resist will be eliminated. We find this most fair." Panic erupted in the assembly hall. Delegates shouted, some in fear, others in anger. Walker remained still, his eyes fixed on the screen. "To demonstrate our power," the alien continued, "we will now remove one of your smaller cities. Consider it motivation." Before anyone could react, reports flooded in. The city of Wellington, New Zealand, had vanished. No explosion, no warning. Just gone. A perfect hemisphere had been scooped from the Earth's surface. 1 month, the alien repeated. "We look forward to your surrender." The transmission ended with that same mocking laughter they'd heard before. Walker's secure phone buzzed. Dr. Miller's voice came through, tense but controlled. "Admiral, I've analyzed the weapon they used. It's some kind of spatial displacement technology. The city isn't destroyed. It's been moved somewhere else." "Can we track it?" Walker asked, already walking toward the exit. "No, but this tells us something important. They want Earth's resources intact. They could have destroyed Wellington, but they chose to preserve it. They're not as all-powerful as they want us to think." Within hours, the Global Defense Command Center became a hive of activity. Military leaders from every nation gathered. Ancient rivalries set aside in the face of extinction. Walker led the emergency session, his voice steady as he addressed the room. "They expect us to panic," he said, pointing to the global chaos unfolding on news feeds. "They expect us to fight among ourselves, to surrender out of fear, but they've made 3 critical mistakes." He held up one finger. "First, they showed us their technology. Arrogant as they are, they didn't consider that we could learn from that demonstration. A second finger, they gave us time. 1 month might seem short to them, but they don't understand human determination. A third finger, most importantly, they united us. For the first time in human history, we have a common enemy." "Project Phoenix," Walker announced, revealing plans that had been developed in secret since first contact. A global defense initiative combining military strength, scientific innovation, and human ingenuity. "They think we're primitive. Let's show them how dangerous primitive can be." Around the world, factories converted to military production. Scientists shared discoveries freely across borders. Military forces trained together, preparing for a fight unlike any in human history. The aliens watched from orbit, amused by the scurrying humans below. They shared recordings of Earth's panic as entertainment, laughing at the primitive species and their futile preparations. But they didn't see everything. Deep underground, in bunkers and secret facilities, humanity was changing, adapting, planning. The aliens had proven one thing. Humans were far behind in technology, but technology wasn't everything. "Send word to all commands," Walker ordered. "Operation Trojan Horse begins now. Let them think we're building weapons. Let them watch our obvious movements. They'll never see the real threat coming." In orbit, the alien ship continued its vigil, its crew confident in their superiority. They had given their ultimatum. They expected submission. They would learn that humans don't submit easily. 2 weeks had passed since the ultimatum. In a secret underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Walker watched Dr. Miller work with a piece of salvaged alien technology. The small device had fallen from the alien ship, likely discarded as trash. To humanity, it was pure gold. "Look at this, Admiral," Dr. Miller said, pointing to a holographic display. "Their technology is incredible, but it's completely rigid. They don't innovate. They just follow preset patterns." Walker stepped closer. "Explain." "Their computers are like perfect chess players. They can calculate millions of moves, but they can't think outside the box." She smiled. "They don't understand that sometimes the best move is to flip the board." In another section of the facility, Captain Rogers led combat training. Soldiers from 30 different nations practiced fighting in complete darkness, using their other senses. The aliens relied heavily on visual targeting. They never expected enemies to fight blind. "Their scanners look for weapons," Rogers shouted to his troops. "So we'll make everything a weapon. Dirt, water, sound itself. They're looking for soldiers. We'll make everyone a soldier." The aliens continued watching Earth's obvious military preparations with amusement. They saw missiles being built, armies gathering, ships moving. All primitive, all useless against their advanced technology. But they didn't see what was happening underground, in oceans, in seemingly abandoned buildings. They didn't see the thousands of civilians learning guerrilla tactics. They didn't notice Earth scientists combining alien tech with human creativity. They missed completely how humanity's greatest weakness, their emotions, was becoming their greatest weapon. "Fear," Walker explained to the global command staff, "makes us stronger. When humans are afraid, we don't just run or fight. We think. We create. We solve problems in ways that pure logic can never match." Dr. Miller's team made breakthrough after breakthrough. They discovered that alien computers couldn't process true randomness. They always looked for patterns. Human emotions, being inherently chaotic, confused their targeting systems. "Their sensors are like a person who only speaks English trying to read Chinese," Dr. Miller explained. "They just can't process how we think, and that's our advantage." In orbit, the aliens grew suspicious of the silence from Earth's governments. They expected begging, negotiation attempts, or signs of surrender preparation. Instead, they got nothing. Their scans showed primitive weapon stockpiles growing, but these posed no threat. It had to be simple acceptance of defeat. What they didn't know was that Project Phoenix had evolved. Humanity wasn't building weapons to match alien technology. They were developing ways to turn alien strengths into weaknesses. Walker stood in the command center, reviewing reports from around the world. Fishing boats carrying hidden sonic disruptors. Farm equipment modified to scramble alien sensors. Children's toys reprogrammed to interfere with alien communications. "Sir," Lieutenant Adams reported, "all units are in position. The aliens still think our forces are gathering in traditional military bases." "Good," Walker nodded. "And the special teams?" "Ready." No one would think to look for elite soldiers in retirement homes, kindergartens, or fast food restaurants. The aliens don't understand that humans can be more than one thing. As the deadline approached, humanity's true defense plan was ready. Not advanced weapons, but advanced thinking. Not matching alien technology, but confusing it. Not fighting fair, but fighting human. In the facility's main hall, Walker addressed the gathered leaders. "They think we're primitive because we feel emotions, because we're unpredictable, because we don't follow logical patterns. Fine, let's show them just how dangerous emotion can be. Let's show them why humans are the most feared predators on our planet." The aliens had given humanity 1 month to surrender. They really should have given them no time at all. The month was up. The alien ship began deploying smaller vessels, thousands of them, descending toward Earth's major cities. Their attack formation was perfect, mathematically precise. Too precise. Admiral Walker stood in the underground command center, watching the alien ships fall into his trap. "They're following exactly the pattern Dr. Miller predicted. Begin Operation Chaos." Around the world, humanity's response began. But not from military bases, not from obvious defense positions, from everywhere else. Fishing boats in the Pacific Ocean activated sonic disruptors, sending confusing signals that made the aliens' perfect formation waver. Old women in park benches pulled out devices that scrambled the alien sensors. Children's toys and playgrounds began broadcasting random frequencies that interfered with alien communications. "What is this?" the alien commander demanded, his transmission reaching Earth's command center. "Your primitive weapons are not in your defensive positions. Your military bases are." He paused, confusion clear in his voice. "Empty." Walker allowed himself a small smile. "Now," he ordered. Across the globe, the real attack began. Restaurant workers threw switches that activated electromagnetic pulse generators hidden in ovens. Teachers in schools pressed buttons that released clouds of sensor-blocking particles. Teenagers with modified video game controllers began disrupting alien targeting systems. The alien ship's perfect formation broke apart as their sensors went wild. They couldn't tell which signals were threats and which were distractions. Their logical computers tried desperately to find patterns in the chaos, overheating as they failed. "Impossible," the alien commander shouted. "You're using cooking devices as weapons, children's toys as signal disruptors. This is not proper warfare." "You're right," Walker responded, finally broadcasting back to them. "This isn't proper warfare. This is human warfare." The first alien ship fell in Tokyo, where sushi chefs with modified cooking knives threw them with perfect accuracy at the ship's newly discovered weak points. Another crashed in Rio de Janeiro, where soccer players kicked specially designed balls that exploded into sensor-scrambling clouds. In orbit, the alien commander watched in horror as his perfect battle plan dissolved into chaos. Their weapons, designed to target military installations, found nothing but empty buildings. Their sensors, looking for soldiers, couldn't identify threats coming from grandmothers, children, and street vendors. "Fall back," the commander ordered. "Regroup," and his transmission cut off as a group of teenagers in London used modified smartphones to crash his communication systems. Walker turned to Dr. Miller. "Status." "Their ships are confused," she reported, grinning. "They can't handle the random attack patterns. Their computers are trying to calculate responses to children throwing water balloons filled with sensor-blocking liquid. They're literally freezing up trying to make sense of it." The aliens attempted to regroup, to form new attack patterns. But everywhere they turned, they found chaos. Construction workers used jackhammers to create vibrations that disrupted their landing systems. Street musicians played sounds at frequencies that scrambled their targeting. "This is not fair," the alien commander managed to broadcast. "You're not fighting according to any known tactical doctrine." "We know," Walker replied calmly. "That's the point." By sunset, the first battle was over. Dozens of alien ships lay disabled or crashed. The others retreated to orbit, their perfect formation now a scattered mess. Earth had won its first victory not with superior technology, but with superior unpredictability. In the command center, Walker addressed his staff. "They'll be back. They'll try to adapt. But they don't understand. Humans have been adapting since we first climbed down from the trees, and we never stopped." Above Earth, the alien commander faced an unfamiliar sensation: fear. For the first time in their history, the Galactic Council's forces had been defeated. Not by a superior enemy, but by one they had dismissed as primitive. They had wanted proper warfare. Instead, they got humanity. The Galactic Council's main ship buzzed with angry voices. On their massive viewing screen, reports from Earth showed defeat after defeat. 3 weeks had passed since their first failed attack, and nothing made sense anymore. "They're using our own ships against us," one council member shouted, pointing to footage of humans piloting captured alien vessels. Not properly, not according to any manual, but somehow more effectively than the aliens themselves. Admiral Walker stood on the deck of a captured alien scout ship, watching Dr. Miller work. She had discovered that alien technology worked better when you didn't follow the instruction manual. "Their computers hate random commands," she explained, deliberately pressing buttons in no particular order. But randomness is what humans do best. The alien commander, who had lost half his fleet to what he called primitive chaos tactics, sent another message to Earth. This is your final warning. Surrender now, or we will destroy your entire planet. Walker's response came in the form of a worldwide counterattack. Thousands of fishing boats, now armed with salvaged alien weapons, swarmed the alien fleet from every ocean. Farm tractors, modified with alien anti-gravity technology, rose into the air to join the fight. They're attacking with agricultural equipment. An alien officer reported in disbelief. And winning. In orbit, the aliens watched in horror as their perfect formations were broken again and again. Human pilots flew captured ships in ways that defied all logic and training, making maneuvers that alien computers classified as impossible and therefore couldn't track. Sir, Lieutenant Adams reported to Walker, the aliens are trying to adapt. They're attempting to be unpredictable. Walker actually laughed. How's that working for them? They're following random pattern template number 7, Dr. Miller said, checking her screens. They don't understand that real randomness can't be programmed. The alien ships tried to copy human tactics, but their computers couldn't handle true chaos. They attempted to fight irrationally, but could only choose from pre-programmed irrational maneuvers. It was like watching robots try to dance freestyle. Technically correct, but missing all the soul. In the council ship, panic was setting in. How are they doing this? The council leader demanded. Their technology is centuries behind ours. The answer came from an unexpected source. A young alien scientist who had been studying human behavior. They're not winning with technology, she reported. They're winning with something we don't have. Imagination. On Earth, humans continued to innovate. Dr. Miller had discovered that singing to alien computers could crash them. They tried so hard to find patterns in music that they overloaded. Now, every attack was accompanied by human songs broadcast at full volume. Walker coordinated the global defense from a captured alien vessel, which they'd modify to run on coffee machine parts and old smartphone processors. It worked better than when it was new, though nobody could explain why. They're retreating. Lieutenant Adams announced as alien ships began pulling back from Earth orbit. All sectors report the same thing. They're running. But Walker knew better than to celebrate too early. They'll be back, he said, with a bigger fleet. But now we know something they don't. What's that, sir? Adams asked. The more advanced you are, the harder you fall when someone changes the rules. Walker turned to his crew. Send word to all commands. Begin Phase 2. Let's take the fight to them. In their retreating ships, the Galactic Council faced a new and terrible reality. They had spent centuries becoming the most advanced civilization in space, only to be defeated by humans using modified toasters and lawnmowers as weapons. They had laughed at Earth's primitive technology. Now that same primitive technology, combined with human creativity, was about to change the galaxy forever. News spread fast across the galaxy, even faster than the Galactic Council could contain it. A primitive species had not only resisted them, but was winning. The impossible was happening, and the Council's iron grip on power began to crack. Admiral Walker stood on the bridge of the Liberty, a massive alien warship that humans had captured and rebuilt using spare car parts and video game controllers. Dr. Miller had even installed a coffee maker in the ship's ag core, claiming it helped the computer think more like a human. Sir, Lieutenant Adams called out, we're receiving transmissions from other worlds. They want to know how we fight the Council. Some are already rising up. The viewing screen showed scenes from across the galaxy. On one world, creatures that looked like giant butterflies were using Earth's tactics, confusing council ships with chaotic flight patterns. On another, rock-like beings were singing human songs to crash alien computers. The council's perfect order is falling apart, Dr. Miller reported, grinning as she checked her modified tablet. They can't control a galaxy that's learning to be unpredictable. Walker watched as more reports came in. A water world was using modified fishing techniques to trap council ships. A civilization of tiny beings was using children's toys as weapons, just like Earth had done. Humanity's creative chaos was spreading like wildfire. The Council's main fleet gathered for one final attempt to crush Earth. Thousands of ships, the largest armada ever assembled, prepared to attack. But this time, they faced more than just humanity. Incoming transmission, Adams announced. From everywhere. The screen lit up with faces and forms from 100 different worlds. Each had suffered under the Council's rigid control. Each had learned from Earth's example. And each was ready to fight. "This is Admiral Walker," he broadcast to the rebel fleet. "Remember, they expect us to fight like them. So don't. Fight like yourselves. Fight like humans taught you. Be unpredictable. Be creative. Be free." The battle that followed would be written about for centuries. Council ships, programmed for perfect warfare, faced attacks that defied all logic. Some alien races used interpretive dance to confuse targeting systems. Others told jokes that crashed ship computers. One species won battles by painting funny faces on their ships. In the Council's command center, chaos reigned. "They're all acting like humans now," one officer screamed. "None of our tactics work." The young alien scientist who had studied humanity spoke up again. "Of course they don't work. You can't defeat creativity with logic. You can't fight imagination with rules." Walker coordinated the rebel fleet using strategies that would have made any military academy instructor faint. Ships flew in formation based on cat videos. Attack patterns were timed to pop music. One particularly successful tactic involved thousands of ships moving like a conga line. "The Council fleet is in full retreat," Adams reported. "And, sir, they're laughing. Our allies are actually laughing while they fight." That was humanity's greatest victory, teaching the galaxy how to laugh in the face of power, how to find joy in rebellion, how to fight not with perfect precision, but with heart and soul. The Council's mighty armada, the most powerful fleet ever assembled, was defeated not by superior weapons, but by superior spirit. They had built their empire on order and logic, only to watch it fall to chaos and creativity. As the battle ended, Walker sent one final message to the retreating Council ships. "You laughed at us for being primitive, but maybe being primitive just means being free to think differently." And now the whole galaxy is thinking differently. In the depths of space, a revolution born on Earth spread from world to world. The age of perfect order was over. The age of creative chaos had begun. 1 year after first contact, the Great Hall of the former Galactic Council looked very different. Gone were the rigid rows of seats and the perfect symmetry. Now the room was filled with representatives from 1,000 worlds, arranged in a cheerful mess that somehow worked better than the old order. Admiral Walker stood at the podium, still wearing his Earth military uniform, now decorated with symbols from dozens of grateful alien worlds. Beside him, Dr. Miller was teaching a group of alien scientists how to modify their advanced computers using Earth kitchen appliances. "The age of the Council's perfect order is over," Walker announced to the gathered representatives. "But we're not here to replace one empire with another. We're here to build something new." The viewing screen showed scenes from across the galaxy. Alien civilizations were flourishing, mixing their advanced technology with human creativity. Some worlds had turned their defense systems into music players. Others had converted warships into traveling art galleries. "Humanity wasn't powerful because we were primitive," Walker continued. "We were powerful because we never stopped questioning, never stopped imagining, never stopped trying new things." Lieutenant Adams, now Earth's ambassador to the stars, brought forward the new Galactic Charter. It had been written on paper, which amazed the aliens, decorated with children's drawings, which confused them, and signed with different colored pens, which delighted them. "This charter doesn't create a new council," Walker explained. "It creates a galactic community. No species will rule over others. We will all learn from each other." The former council leader, who had once laughed at Earth, stood up to speak. We thought advancement meant moving away from emotion, away from chaos, away from joy. We were wrong. Humanity taught us that true advancement means embracing all of these things. Dr. Miller's team had discovered something remarkable. When alien technology was allowed to be imperfect, it worked better. Spaceships flew faster when their computers could improvise. Energy weapons hit harder when they weren't aimed with perfect precision. The galaxy was learning that perfection wasn't everything. "Look at what we've achieved in 1 year," Walker said, gesturing to the screens. They showed Earth's cities, now filled with a mix of human and alien life. Alien students learned Earth sports while human children learned alien sciences. Everything was a bit messy, a bit chaotic, and completely wonderful. The young alien scientist who had first understood humanity's strength now led the new Galactic Science Academy. "We've learned that mathematics can't explain everything," she announced. "Sometimes you need poetry. Sometimes you need music. Sometimes you need to just try something crazy and see what happens." Walker looked out at the gathered species, some with wings, some with tentacles, some made of light or stone or pure energy. All of them had learned to laugh. All of them had learned to create. All of them had learned to be a little bit human. "1 year ago, you laughed at us," he said to the former council members. "You called us primitive. You thought our emotions made us weak. Now you understand. Our emotions make us strong. Our chaos makes us adaptable. Our creativity makes us unstoppable." The final act of the day was the unveiling of a new memorial. Not a perfect statue or a logical monument, but a simple earth tree planted in the center of the hall. Around it, children from 100 worlds played games that mixed rules from every corner of the galaxy. "This is our victory," Walker said softly. "Not defeating you, but teaching you how to play again, how to feel again, how to live again." As the celebration began, a wonderful mix of Earth music, alien dances, and pure, joyful chaos, Walker looked up at the stars through the hall's crystal dome. Somewhere out there, another advanced civilization might be looking down on a primitive world and laughing. They really should know better by now.